Hey y'all, Instinct Survivalist coming to you again with another 2-Tip Tuesday. This time we'll be talking about tripods and campfire tools. More specifically, we're going to start putting together all the pieces we've been doing over the past few weeks, including pot hooks and the tripod. Now there's a tip with the tripod that we didn't talk about last week, but I mentioned it previously in the toggles video, so you can go check that out as well. But we'll actually review that and go over it again. So let's get this fire started. We're going to cook a little coffee while we're talking about the tools. Okay, so one of the things we talked about last week was a tripod lashing. And what we've done, and we talked about the tripod and we've talked about toggles. So what I've done is I've actually created my tripod, and you'll notice I've got one stake that's a little weird, simply because it makes it easier to go over the edge of the fire pit. But what I have done, the extra tip for this week, if you will, is I have left a good bit of cordage for my toggle. And the reason being is because now I have the ability with that tripod lash to actually put my pot on here and then drop it down over the fire. Now, with that little bit, I have the ability to go in and add more, make it lower, make it higher, whatever, if I leave a sufficient amount. So I might not want it too low, I may want it a little higher. I can just take and loop it over one of the lengths of the leg. The other thing about a tripod and the benefit of it is because now if I wanted to do incremental, let's say that that's too much, I can actually do incremental. I need to move it towards one side of the fire or the other. And so by moving the leg, that actually took it from this side over towards the middle a little bit. And if I need to take it that way, I'd bring that leg out a little bit more. And so what this does is helps me to actually be able to go in and lower my pot or raise it based off of the temperature, based off of the heat with the fire itself. Are the ashes ready? Do I need to get coals? Do I need to actually have a raging fire? And so that's the difference on there. I'm going to give you one more tip. With my pots, my big pots like this, now with my bush pot I don't do this, but with my big pots like this, one of the things I do is I actually coat the bottom and the lower quarter of this with dish soap. The reason being is if you want to clean it, and this is why I don't do it with my bush pot and my other pots, with my big camping pots like this I do, I can actually take at that point and wash it off without having to worry about scrubbing it to get all the blackness off. So if you want to take the black off your pot, that's the way you do it. If you don't, then so be it. It's just one of those things. So I'm going to readjust this because what we're going to do is we're going to look at the other camp tool, or the fire tool if you will, and I'm trying to remember the proper name. I think it's actually called the fire tools. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a cross beam on here for these Y sticks that we have here. We'll talk about that a little bit more. All right, so another way to do things, or to hang your pot if you will, is to actually use camp tools. What we've done is we've actually found 2 Y limbs, and in those limbs I've actually taken and tapered them off into a point so I can drive them in the ground. Now I want to make sure they're sturdy enough that they're going to take the hammering that I do with the pole of my axe, and I want to make sure that they're going to be sturdy enough to hold my pot. Now the second part of that comes down to when we talked about pot hooks before, and I've actually created a modified pot hook here See, I've got a nice little divot in there. I've got the nice little rounded out area because this is a bigger stick, and it'll hug the tree or hug the limb just a little bit more. Now I have the ability to take my pot, hook it on, and then depending upon where I want it on the fire, I can take and put it on that side, put it on this side, depending upon how deep I want it. So that gives you another way to do things. Now, one thing or one downside to this is you don't have the ability to adjust it. I can't adjust my height. I can't adjust the size of it. It's just there. I can move it off to the side. That's it. The only way that you can do that is to have multiple sizes of these, or remember in the pot hook example, I actually gave you multiple cuts in it. So this would be a little higher, and then you could drop it down or make it higher. That's the way to do that. All right, so that's it, folks. We made some great coffee. Very happy to be drinking this. Days are starting to get cooler, so I'll start drinking a little bit more in the evening time just because it's warmer. But hey, listen, thanks for everything. I wanted you to be able to see the tripod, so we wanted to put all the pieces together. The tripod with the toggles, tripod lashing, the actual camp tools, so you can see the pot holder. Those are two options, okay? That's what it boils down to. Those are two options. Another one, I actually just take my bush pot and throw it in the fire, let it cook that way. And Dan Wowak over at Coalcracker Bushcraft, you can go to his YouTube channel. He actually has one on fire tools where he's done an adjustment, so it's kind of a mix between the two. A mix between a tripod and the ability to adjust the cordage up, as well as the actual campfire tools, so you can use those for laying bacon, laying those on there and doing it that way. So it gives you a whole nother perspective in doing that. It's one of those things that I'm probably going to have to try. Anyway, hey y'all, thanks for everything you do. Thanks for all your likes and subscribes. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like it. Add comments down below if you have more things you want to see. I know there's, it's beyond what I want to show you, but let's see what you want to see. Let's continue building this community, continue getting it going the way that it is. Thank you for all you've done so far. Don't forget to check out the other two Tip Tuesdays, the instructionals, and hey, don't forget to subscribe in the bottom. All right? Hey y'all, until next time, use your instincts to survive. Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling. I've been on the phone too much. Thanks for watching, y'all. One of the best ways to drink coffee is just hot as hell.